Super
Hi,
quickly,
Jordan.
just to kind of, Susie mentioned earlier on about the importance of building networks, which is in journalism, it's so important. But alongside that as well, it's about access to the right people. So I've been doing this 22 years now. Do you think 10 years ago I could email a Susie Rack at The Guardian about, can you read my article? We've got Twitter, we've got Instagram. Susie Rack's emails out there now. I could never get a hold of someone like Susie 10, 15 years ago. You mad? Now, if you're a student coming out of degree or whatever, you can email all these people. Anne Marie, come on. So
I know. I was going to say, and Mark, from your point of view, 10 years, as Jordan's just pointed out, 10 years ago, you wouldn't be able to find Susie Rack on Twitter or any other. So sorry to use you as an example, Susie, but you wouldn't be able to find her on social media, let alone get in contact with her. But you can do that now. And that is a massive opportunity that should be hammered several times over.
In my day, you picked up the phone, tried to get through to the Guardian sports desk, asked for Susie Rack, and she'd have the police on you for stalking you. Absolutely, the door is now open.
You still might now, actually.
Yeah, but still might now. Yeah, absolutely. But absolutely, the door is open to all of us now. I'm on Twitter. We're all on Twitter, and we've got busy lives and we've got things to do. But I think, certainly one of the reasons I'm straddling this dual life, if you like, of academia and practicing sports journalism is, quite frankly, I've had a great life out of this, and long may that continue. But I've always wanted to try and help the next generation have the life that I've had and the opportunities I have, because, you work hard, but it's certainly, a great job to be involved in and a great experience. So you must reach out. You absolutely say to anybody, don't be afraid, don't be shy. Reach out. I don't think I'm going to say no to anybody who contacts me on Twitter for a bit of advice. It might take me a while to get through all of those answers, so I might not answer you for a couple of weeks. But ask us questions. Ask us how this happens. But what I would say about that, interestingly as well, is I have some people who do that, and they instantly expect me to say, well, once you've done your degree, like everybody's talked about here, once you've done your degree, you can go off to Sky, and then that's it. That's brilliant. It isn't about that. It's about planning, if you like. Imagine it as a mountain. You can't walk straight up a high mountain. You have to go around the bendy roads to get right to the top. And it's about plotting your path on the bendy road and which parts you want to take and how that route goes to get you to the summit that you want to get to.
Yeah, excellent points. Finally, can I ask all three of you, actually, and I'll chip in as well, about extracurricular activities outside of studying at college or university or even a work life? How important is that to young people if they want to work in sports media? Because the thing I've been picking up over the last few webinars I've been doing is that you don't necessarily have to play for a sports team to view that as an extracurricular activities. It's things like reading, listening to podcasts, going to networking meetings, things like that. Let's start with you, Jordan. What would you say is extracurricular activities for somebody who wants to work in sports media?
I think the three main ones you just named, I think reading and consuming as much, articles and books on the subject of interest within sport as possible. Listening to podcasts, I listened to about, I think, 22 podcasts I counted. I think half of them are sport. So we're just kind of getting a different perspective on different people about how they saw last night's game between Manchester City and Arsenal, or the up and coming US Open, and just kind of getting that real difference of perspectives from different people. But I think the other one you mentioned as well is an important one too. Just getting out there to as many conferences and events as possible. Put yourself out there, meet new people. There are so many conferences and events and shenanigans going on where you can meet like-minded sports buffs. It doesn't have to be for the people you work for, work with, but just put yourself out there and consume as much as possible, because it can't make you worse. It can only make you better. It can only really improve your knowledge on the particular sport or area of broadcasting or journalism that you want to work in. But it actually might also enhance your interest in that sort of thing, because you might come across, might read or hear a different perspective that really gives you an idea, a bit of a nugget to, okay, you know what, I might write an article about that, or I might do a podcast on this. I consume and consume and consume. And I block out the things and the people that don't benefit my professional kind of movements, and the ones that do, I embrace. So if you're a writer, consume as much of everything else that kind of has sport on it as possible, because it can only make you a better writer. If you're a presenter, producer, researcher, graphic designer, whatever it is you do within sport, just consume, consume, consume.
Such a good point, Jordan, about consuming as well. Because I remember a young person contacted me on Twitter about he wanted to work for a football club and he wanted to work in the sports business side of things. And he was asking me what he should do outside of, just watching football matches. And I was talking about, well, reading for starters is a good part, and target journalists who cover stories, particularly about sports business. So at the moment, we've got discussions about the Newcastle takeover. That is a great story at the moment, and get really under the skin about intricacies that are involved when a new owner wants to, or a new prospective customer wants to come over and take over a club, and all the backwards and forwards and the politics that go all around that, and what is the journalist saying in their style, and who do they write for, and so on and so forth. Susie, is there anything else that you can add to this as well about extra stuff that someone could be doing outside of their degree?
Yeah, I mean, I think upskilling in as many areas as possible based on what we were saying earlier is really, like I say, when I was working on Guardian doing layout and the Times doing design, I was doing a motion graphics course with the idea that then that would open up jobs to me, not front of camera, not producer, but doing like the kind of team graphics that pop up on Sky and that kind of stuff. And so I went and did a 12-week, quite decent evening course on that. Spend a lot of money to upskill yourself. You can watch YouTube videos on kind of how to use Adobe Premiere or Photoshop. You can get free trials of these. I also think it's really, really important to know about, if you're wanting to be a writer like I am, for example, to know about the roles that interact with you, and the different jobs that people have that you're going to in day-to-day basis. I think I benefited hugely from having worked on the desk and watched the editors, the football editors, the features editors, all up closely and interacting with them from a design point of view. Go into writing for publication was hugely useful, because it meant that I know exactly what's going on when and they need copy, and a writer hasn't filed on time, or that a writer has filed 300 words over or 300 words under, or what that means for the editor, what that means for the page of the paper you're laying out, how you have to read it, what for the editor who is having to find a different picture to fit a shape because it's changed, what that means for the cost of if that page is late going to print, that it's like 800 quid a minute for every page that is late by past them to the press, little things like that. So learn about the jobs that exist around you're going to be interacting with and what their job entails, and can I come and sit in and watch what you do a day? Can you talk me through kind of day to day what your biggest frustrations are, that kind of stuff? Speak to people who are going to help you once you're in the role that you want to be in as well, in delivering and working with people in the best possible way, essentially.
And Mark, you and I both worked at hospital radio, volunteering work. How important is voluntary work as well?
Yeah, voluntary work is the way that you can move your career on very quickly. I mean, voluntary work in the discussion we're having goes from everything from hospital radio stations, which still exist, but also, we have thousands of grassroots sports clubs in this country who are having a difficult time just as much as anybody else right now. But at the best of times, they don't get the coverage that they deserve. And they are opening doors, and they would open doors to the right people, the right volunteers, to go and write match reports for their websites, to go and record podcasts about their club, to go and film their highlights. I know that because we get offered those opportunities at the university. Those opportunities exist everywhere in the United Kingdom, that clubs, big and small, want some help. So, don't ever think that your local ice hockey club or your local non-league football club is beyond you because you want to be an Arsenal reporter. The Arsenal reporters would have started one day covering ice hockey because they had to because somebody went sick, or they've covered grassroots football for years before they've gone on to do Arsenal Football Club. So you really do have to look in front of you, and everywhere there is still there is opportunity. So if you want to do one thing today to advance your career in sports media, look up your local football club, your local rugby club, your local bowls club, and ask them, do they want any help with match reports for their website or filming a bit of video?
I was going to make a quip about being, an Arsenal reporter, but I won't. I will like refrain as a gooner. I won't say anything about it. But it is an excellent point, Mark, about don't necessarily looking at your dream job, looking at something that may be able to help you as voluntary work. You rightly say grassroots, like you rightly say. I'm contacted by grassroots organisations saying they're looking for someone to help them with their social media content for a few weeks, or they're looking for someone to write match reports and get and happy to give an opportunity to somebody. So there is things out there, everyone. There is stuff out there that can help you definitely get on with your sports media journey. Well, I'd love to say thank you very much for watching the Careers in Sports Media webinar. I hope that's given you some ideas and some options as well about how you want to develop your career in this fantastic industry. And I have to say that because I'm slightly biased. But of course, I didn't do this on my own. I have to extend a very warm thank you to Susie Rack, to Jordan Jarrett Bryant, and also to Mark Webber for joining us on this webinar.